Hey everybody, welcome to the MMA podcast. I'm Karyn Bryant coming to you from Fight Island in Abu Dhabi.
What's up, guys? Alan Jouban as well. I'm in LA. Wade is in Colorado. I think we're bringing this from three different cities, three different continents right now, but we're making it happen, guys. Good to be here.
Yeah, we definitely are. So how have you been though, Alan? I haven't talked to you in a week or so. How you been?
I know. Well, I've been training. I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm excited. Just still waiting on a matchup. I don't have that yet, but I've been looking at all your stories. It looks fun. That the pool over there looks really nice in Abu Dhabi, and I've been trying to keep up with you, all the little insight on what's going on over there, just in case my fight happens to be over there. I'm kind of trying to see what it looks like.
Yeah, it's really interesting because if I have been trying to keep up on the stories, so if people want to know what's going on, I've been doing a lot of stories, and then I also put a Fight Island highlight together on my Instagram for stories if people want to see that stuff. It's really interesting, Alan, because on the one hand, we're in this place, it's like 1,000 degrees out. It's probably still, 100 degrees out right now. And so a lot of time during the day, you don't really go outside because you go out for a few minutes and you just like, it's overwhelming. But the beach is really cool. So after the fights on Saturday night, we had to stay up all night long. And so Heidi Dean, who of course and who everybody, if you ever watch the weigh-ins and you hear this woman go, "Okay, baby, pose over here, baby," that's Heidi. And so a lot of times, give me 5 seconds, baby. Exactly. And so we went down to the beach, had it all to ourselves, which was great. But it's so weird because you go in the water and it's actually like hot water. It feels like you're in a bath, which I love because I don't like being cold. But it's really, 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 really salty too. And so you have a very high buoyancy, so you can float like crazy out there, but really beautiful. And then the beach also has a pool at the beach too. So I swam some laps down there. But the pool at the W was really nice. And initially it wasn't going to be open for us. And then they realized I don't know, I guess just because everybody's being tested so much and this and that, but they opened the pool. So now we have that as an option, and it is beautiful.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like a great pool. It's definitely something that I like. If I go, I want to hit the beach. I want to go paddle. Can you do stuff over there, like rent paddle boards or boats?
Yeah, at the beach they have like jet skis and stuff, and I think they have paddle boards over there, but I'm not sure. I might do that. I know, and there's also a golf range, so some people have golfed. I might just try to go and do the driving range and not play a full round. There's also the car thing. You can do the car experience where you drive around really fast, but you don't get to drive. You go with somebody. But it does look really cool. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that because I've driven in fast cars and stuff with people before. If I do one, I think I was saying this, I think I would do the drift car just because I think that would be really cool to that's something I wouldn't know how to do. But you can also take bicycles out and ride on that track. So I'm either going to try to maybe do that tomorrow morning or Wednesday morning. It's just that you have to go out really early so it's not so hot. But at 6 o'clock in the morning, you can go down and they give you really nice bicycles to ride on the racetrack. Yeah.
No, that would be fun. You get to ride a bicycle on that racetrack.
Yeah, your bicycle on the racetrack. So, like Craig Borsari, we were talking about the other day, he's a big boss over at UFC stuff. So he said he did it and really enjoyed it. But that pool the other night, Alan, there was actually a little party on Friday night for just a small reception by the Board of Tourism from Abu Dhabi. And so Lene, the PR person from UFC, was like, "Hey, they really want you to come. Can you come to this reception?" Yeah, sure, of course. Let's go up there, and it's really, really hot. Everybody's hot and everything. You're drinking, and Dana's there, and da-da-da. And all of a sudden, Dana's like, "F it, I'm going in." So he goes in the pool. And he had shorts on, and so takes the shirt off, goes in the pool, and everybody's all of a sudden like, "You know what? F it." All jump in our clothes. Okay. It's 2 a.m. and it's just a bunch of us in the pool, but a bunch of us, but still 20 of us or something, but all in the pool in our clothes, all just swimming around, tipsy or whatever. And it was actually really, 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 really fun. And at one point they had called Security Steve, if people know Security Steve, the big, tall English security guy. Yeah. He had been at the party earlier. He had already gone home and gone to bed. Well, they called security because they were like, there's, everybody's wilding up in the pool at 1 a.m, 2 a.m. So they called Security Steve up to fix the situation. Security Steve gets in the pool.
I was like, what is he going to do? It's Dana in the pool with everybody else.
It's Dana. So it's if Dana's there,
it's causing trouble.
Right. So it was really fun. It was good. So the pool is nice.
Real quickly, so I know it's an 11-hour difference from LA. So 2 a.m, is that a normal stay up time because you guys are already in like that's kind of work mode anyway, right?
Well, right. Yeah. So a lot of people, like I said before, a lot of people have been trying to just do that whole vampire thing the whole time and just stay on that nighttime shift. But especially for all the fighters. And like, if you ever do come over here to fight, it's tricky, Alan. Like, some guys are taking to it a little bit better than others, depending on maybe where they flew in from. Like maybe it's actually easier for them to just stick on this time or not. But essentially, I know a lot of people are trying to stay up till 6 o'clock in the morning, and then they sleep until like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, because that's what they're going to have to be on the fight cycle. Like I literally went to work on Saturday night. I took like a 10 p.m., 10:30 shuttle or something. The show started at 1 in the morning, and this Saturday's fight card has like 15 fights on it. So it's going to be a really long night. And so it's the sooner you start to get on that and work out. Like I've seen, you'll see people that are on this card posting stories of working out at 4 in the morning in their room or going for jogs, 4:30 in the morning and stuff like that. So it's tricky, but, people seem to be handling it well. I think. I don't think every fighter loves it, though.
What's interesting, though? Like, I thought going to Abu Dhabi, we're talking about an 11-hour difference ahead of time.
Yeah.
A very long 16-hour or something flight, plus the quarantining, everything happening, being in the room, that affects your entire schedule, your sleep schedule, your training schedule, etc. That there would be some issues with people cutting weight. But it seems like since we've been at Fight Island, a large percentage, I don't remember if there's anybody that has missed weight yet. I could be wrong. But the usual 2 missed weights per card that we kind of have seems to be kind of wiped away at Fight Island. People are making weight so easily, I'm assuming, because it's so easy to sweat the water out. You shadow box on the balcony or something like that, and they're not having to go find steam rooms or towel up inside the bedroom.
Yeah, I could tell you, I pound, like even before, like right when I get up, the pound, they stock our room with waters and stuff. Yeah. You chug so much water here, and you sweat a lot. I literally I haven't weighed this little in years. So I've also not been eating that much. Like it's really hot, and stuff, and just whatever, you just don't eat that much. And I also, by design, I was like, yeah, I'll come over here. I work out a lot, and like, just like use it as like fat camp. You know what I mean? And so, but I'm lighter than I have been in years. And it is easier to make weight here for sure, because literally, you run a lap and you're just soaking wet. And so I think for that, I think you're right. Everybody made weight. There was a couple guys that changed their fight that was supposed to be like a flyweight fight that got changed to a bantamweight fight or something, because there are a couple people that have said that just because of that long ass flight and because of the different food, whatever, there was a couple of people that said, hey, if I ever come back to Fight Island, I have to fight as a 45er. That was what, what's his name, who changed James Krause said the other day. I'm blanking on his name. But he said, if I come back here, I can fight at 45, but if I'm in the States, I can fight at 35. He's like, it's just the travel made it a little hard. So on that part, because he did puff up, but you're right. It's really easy to make weight here.
Yeah. Cool. Well, speaking of it, let's get into it. Let's break down these fights. Let's get into them.
Well, we have a new champ, Deiveson Figueiredo, and we almost didn't have him fighting because he actually had tested positive for COVID. He actually had it earlier in the year, and there was this whole thing about his testing and whether or not he was cleared and stuff. And so he actually didn't get here till really late. But to your point, Alan, he made weight, right? Like, because he was even saying, like, I guess he came into camp a little lighter, but just it wasn't hard for him to make the weight because the weigh-in at least is also a little later in the day for people, he was very confident before this and said he was going to do it faster than he did the first time, because he said, I think Joe leads with his head too much, and I think I can beat him even faster the second time, and he did. Yeah,
I mean, Figueiredo, he looks like he's a beast. I don't see a lot of people, and granted, I haven't looked at the top 10 in the flyweight division as of recently, but when you're thinking of who off the top of your head is going to dethrone this man, it's a tough one, because first of all, it's one of the lighter divisions in terms of competition, right? So guys get pushed up to the top very fast, very easily. But Joe's a guy, Benavidez, he's a guy that has always beaten those guys, those contenders, those guys that go on 3-fight win streaks, and next thing you know, they're the number 1 or 2 guy in the world. Joseph has always been the guy to put those guys back down, and that's why he's had 4 title shots in the last 10 years, because he's always so consistently good. but it's unfortunate when he gets to the top. He's always had a bump in the road against these elite. Granted, this division, as I said, is one of the lighter divisions in the world in terms of not just being pun intended, but it's not the 55, the 70s. There's 30, 40 guys.
One championship has a lot of 25ers.
One, but you know what I'm saying. I mean,
yes, for sure. It's not the marquee, right? Exactly.
Isn't as stacked, but I will give the division this credit. Their champions have always been some of the best in the world. When you talk about pound for pounds, or people that are consistently good, the top 1 or 2 guys have always been really, really good. Joseph has always been in that mix. The way that he lost, though, it showed. I mean, you watched the press conference after. The realness and honesty that he gave off, it was in a way that, even though it was a sad moment and you felt your heart pulling for him, I love just to see how sincere he was and honest he was about his career, and he was just so humble about it. And he said, the first fight, I wasn't happy. I was mad. I wanted to get back at him because all the things that are out of his control. But this fight, he was almost like, he beat me. I did everything correctly. I did everything. I trained my butt off. And even this was the thing that really topped it off for me, Karyn. He goes, I was so impressed about what he did. For him to drop Joseph 2 or 3 times and to be the first person to choke him out and do all that in, was it 1 round, 2 rounds? I can't remember.
Yes, it was at 4:45 of round 1 or something. 4:48 or 4:45 of round 1.
To knock Joseph down a number of times, to rock him, to choke him unconscious in the fashion that we saw, where he was unconscious, laid out on the floor. As Dana White said, it was a violent fight, full of blood.
Yeah.
It's like he went into that fight, Figueiredo, as the villain, as the bad guy, but he emerged as a champion. He emerged as a super champ.
Yeah, no, he's really, really good. And, I watched the fight from just sitting right there at the octagon, and it was really intense because Figueiredo was all over him from Jump Street, and it was like Joe almost got choked out right away, you know what I mean? Or armbarred or something, right? And then he got out of it, then gets dropped again. So it was so, Deiveson was just on fire. He just was just all over Joe. And then every time Joe would get out of something, you're like, holy crap, I can't believe it. Oh my God, he got out of that thing. That's amazing. Yeah. And then as you're going, you're like, this is going to be the incredible story of Joe getting so behind, but then he'll come back and get it. You know what I mean? And it was just too much, but it was just relentless. Deiveson just didn't stop the whole round, just all over him, and put him in so many bad positions. There was just never a moment for Joe to even catch his breath even, there was never a second of a relief. It was just nonstop. And yeah, the whole thing about the villain, Joe was with Waleed, his manager and stuff, and just the way things went last time, and how, he wasn't really apologetic about missing weight and didn't really care. And then apparently what happened is, because there was that headbutt before Joe got knocked out in the first round. Yeah. And it really affected him, and Joe never really got his bearing back. And then Deiveson was able to finish him. Well, apparently, I guess he bragged about that to Brazilian media. He kind of bragged about the headbutt leading to it. And he's like, yeah, and because of the way, Joe fights, because he kind of leads with his head or whatever, he initiated that. And wasn't that, I don't know exactly what he said, but the thing is, basically, he was sort of bragging about the headbutt leading to it. And so, Joe didn't really appreciate that either. And I guess at the time, Waleed didn't translate that part. So he didn't hear it till after the fact, when Brazilian media people told Joe that. So, there was a lot of things going into it where he was just yeah, this time I really want to hurt the guy. I don't want to just win. I want to hurt him. Of course, it didn't happen. And, the press conference was rough. I had to interview him afterwards. He wanted to talk, actually. We thought he left. And then Megan came up to me. She's like, yeah, no, he really wants to talk. And we said, oh, I thought he left. We were told he went to the hospital. I had already tweeted that out. She said, no, he's here still, and he wants to talk. I'm like, okay. So we scrambled because we had already kind of basically wrapped up everything, grabbed the cameras and everything back, and went and interviewed him. And yeah, it was really intense. And it's he's sitting there telling us, the world, he's like, all right, I know now. I'm never going to be the best. I'm not the best. I'm never going to be a champion. I'm only ever going to be number 2. And now I know. And it sucked. It sucked.
It was very raw. It was very real.
Yeah.
And It sucked. It sucked. It's a lot. I see it's like, and you're saying it because we all, Dana White has said this earlier. Like, everybody likes Joseph. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. He's polite. He's a good fighter. Yeah. He's married to Megan, and everybody likes him. It's just like, it's just a couple that everybody likes.
Everybody likes him. Not that you don't like Deiveson, but everybody likes Joe and Megan.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so, I don't know. There was just so much story about this loss that was just so compelling to me. Just seeing what his thoughts were on everything. There's this photo that I saw this morning of Joseph after he got back on his stool after he was conscious again after the choke out. And his corners were kind of consoling him. And Megan is on the other side, the outside of the cage, kind of like on her knees trying to give some type of love or show some type of support for a man. And it's like a sad photo, but it's a powerful photo. And it just kind of shows the story of their relationship and Joseph's career, where he's made it to the top of the mountain so many times, but never quite was able to get over. But he's always had the support of his wife behind him. Man, I don't know. It's like I'm proud of Joseph for what he's done and always pushing forward and not having regrets and him saying, I know this is kind of towards the end of my career, but I won't go out like this. I'm going to fight until I get a win, and then I'll make a decision after that. So I totally understand that. I'm another person who's at the back end of my career, and I would love to go out on a beautiful victory at some point. And that's what he wants as well. He doesn't want it to end this way, 2 losses in a row, 2 finishes in a row, So it's a sad story, but back to Figueiredo. He is a very, very strong champion. He's a big guy for the flyweight division. He adapts very well. The thing that I noticed in this fight was that Joseph Benavidez is kind of an unpredictable fighter. He's he can be smooth at times, but he can be very herky-jerky at times. He does lead in with his head. He does switch stances and throw things, and he's kind of all over the place sometimes, but in a very good way. I don't mean that in like he's like herky-jerky, not skilled. Right. But Figueiredo, what I saw that he did is he adjusted to that. He figured out Joseph's movements in the first fight. In his second fight, I felt like he was fully under control. Like some of Joseph's feints and let me look low and throw the overhand high, things like that catch a lot of people. They were not tricking Figueiredo at all in this fight. He was prepared for it. He was ready to counter. Yeah. He was ready to put on the gas right away. So he looked phenomenal, made great adjustments. Moving forward for him, like I said, you might have a better idea of how the flyweight division list looks right now, but I don't know who's gonna push this guy off the mountain.
Well, it's tricky because if Deiveson was unable to make it from Brazil, they were going to have Alexandre Pantoja fight Joe for the title. So Pantoja, was on Ultimate Fighter and all this stuff. So he was also on the card. Ironically, he actually lost his fight. Right. So he went from almost getting a title shot to losing his fight to a guy
and getting out grappled when that's kind of his money, his kind of go-to.
Right. So Tim Elliott got a win the other night. Tim Elliott gave Demetrius Johnson a hell of a fight. So I think Tim Elliott is a guy that is a name that's going to get up there, and he's got name recognition as well. I'd have to really look at some more people because I would have said Pantoja. You know what I mean? You have Brandon Moreno is actually doing really well too. So, and everybody loves him, the babyface killer, so babyface assassin. So there are some people there that I think could be really good. But Deiveson is great. So it's going to be tough to beat him. I do think it's going to be tough to beat him. And he is a nice guy. It's funny because it is, I think a lot of it was, the bad guy thing was because of Waleed, his manager, who is sort of infamous in the industry. People who know him know that, like, if you ever see him in a post-fight interview, like he doesn't say what the fighter said. He's supposed to translate it. He just makes his own stuff up. He just goes off and rants because I know what he's saying. I don't understand everything in Portuguese, but I know a lot of the stuff that they're saying. I'm like, dude, he did not say that at all.
Yeah, he's taking full advantage of the interview. The guy says 4 words in Portuguese, and his manager speaking like intently on like I'm like, whoa, this is 2 different energies and a lot more language happening right now. Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's probably partly doing with his manager, and then partly when you miss championship weight by 5 pounds, and then
it was 2.5 pounds. He missed by 2.5 pounds.
Okay, 2.5 pounds. 2.5 pounds. But
still a lot.
when you miss it, and that alone is like disrespect. Like, how I thought you won. This is the biggest thing in the world, and you didn't put every effort into it. And I believe he didn't take that 1 hour extra time to try. And then, like, obviously, it's in the past now. He looks phenomenal in this last fight, but that's what made him the bad guy. I think he did redeem himself, but I think he could live in that kind of heel world, because you've seen it in the interviews after this fight. He even said, like, I took Joseph's soul. He wasn't kind of treading lightly, pulling back, being like, okay, the first time, that wasn't me. I apologize for the weight cut. I feel bad for headbutting him. This was a clean fight. He's kind of like, no, I took his soul. I will, you know, like, he's kind of got that bad guy quality. The thing that he really needs is to brush up on his English, because it's hard to really relate and promote and get behind champions when everything is through a translator. One guy who is kind of able to do it, but he has so much personality, is like Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva doesn't, you know, they would always kind of have the translator there, but Anderson was like, do you speak English or not? Because you're speaking some English, but now you need a translator, now you need Portuguese. So Anderson had some English, but he also had this, like, kind of like little kid playful personality that we were drawn to. And then he knew how to say certain things like, you suck, Chael, or something like that, at the right moments to say, oh, okay, this guy's fun. But Figueiredo has, like, I haven't seen him say a lick of English that I have seen yet. And he needs to just, like, give me, like, 2 words at the end of every fight. Like, thank you, everybody. Like, so that we know that, like, just establishing connection, it will help his brand a lot more.
Yeah, and I agree. It's something really important. But, you know, apparently he is a good guy. You know, I was talking to my friend Evie about him, because I was saying, oh, you know, hopefully he's a good champ. And I wish I could remember all the things that she said. But, like, you know, he comes from nothing. And he actually, you know, you see how he has his hair dyed. Like, he actually used to work in a salon and stuff too. And she said he used to do this, he used to do that. He used to do this. Like, he's a guy that had, like, 1 million jobs and, you know, all kinds of stuff. Really doesn't come from anything. And so, you know, this could change his life, and I will, obviously. And I asked him, I said, hey, you know, if you become champion on Friday, I was talking to him, I said, if you become champion, you know, like, what will change and stuff? And he said, oh, I'll change everything. He's like, I promise, I will be the most professional. I will be, you know, the best champion. I will take it all seriously. I will this, I will that. Like, I think he does realize now, you know, no more messing up. You know what I mean? And something that was also really nice was that he dedicated, you know, the fight to his grandfather, who had passed away a couple months ago, but who is still really close to him. And he's like, I really feel like he's here with me. Like, so I think it's going to be just a process of discovery with him, and that the more we get to know him, the more we probably will like him. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it'll help him if he can learn some English. It's just right now he's just less known to people, but I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I agree.
And I like just that little bit of insight that you gave on him about him working at a hair salon and his grandfather died. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff, you know? And the more, like you said, the more we get background on him, and the more he interviews, little things that we get kind of some more insight into. Who is this guy? He's not the villain from 2 fights ago. He's the world-class champion who said he's going to make changes, and he's going to be that professional guy. I can't wait to see it. Last thing on this note, though, tough matchmaking for Joseph Benavidez next, because if he wants to go out on a win, the UFC cannot give him the next 1 or 2.
Yeah, they can't give him, like, number 12 ranked guy either, though. Like, they can't give him a gimme, but they also can't give him the number 1 guy. So yeah, like, does he fight number 4 or 5?
Guy, you know, like, nobody is really on, like, a big win streak that's relevant in that division. You know, there's a couple win streak guys, but then, you know, they're beating, like, lower numbers. But if you're anywhere in the top 5, you probably are already lost to Joe, or, like, on a 1 or 2 fight win streak. You can't then give him Joe, and then Joe beats him, and then we have no contender again. So it'll be very interesting to see who they give Joseph and why. And the next couple fights, you know, in the division, I mean, somebody's got to fight Deiveson next. And so we got to see who that's going to be, and then everything else has to play out. But he's going to be, I think, a really great champion for the UFC for sure.
Yeah, I think so as well. And hopefully Joe, you know, I'm pretty sure he will, you know, take quite some time before that next fight, because, you know, that is the thing too, is this fight was only at the end of February, their first fight. And if you think about how long you've been training for this one person, and, like, all that mental anxiety and all that stuff, and then just the recovery time of getting your confidence back or whatever after that. Like, so hopefully he takes some time, you know, before jumping back in to try to get another fight. Speaking of that, you know, that's what Kelvin had told us was the problem in the Till fight. He said, I took it too soon after Adesanya. But I was so frustrated by losing, I wanted to get back on track and I wanted to win. And I probably shouldn't have taken that fight with Darren Till that soon. And because he lost to Darren Till. And then, of course, we know Saturday night, Jack the Joker Hermansson came out and heel hooked him in the first round. And I did not see that coming.
No, I mean, Kelvin Gastelum. It's a weird thing about this podcast today, Karyn, is like I feel like we're talking almost more about the losers than the winners. And it's just because the losers in both of these two fights that we're highlighting have a deep history with the UFC and with the fan base. We know these fighters very well, and they've been in the UFC for a long time. So that's the story behind them. Jack Hermansson, this guy is a killer. He came into the UFC, and all of a sudden he was submitting – some of the guys that he submitted, I can't think of the name all of a sudden.
David Branch. He submitted David Branch.
And he
beat Jacare.
Very, very good grappler.
Yeah.
Very strong guy in the ground. Submits Branch. Takes Jacare the distance. I mean, some of the names that he has on his resume is very, very impressive. And some of the submissions, the way that he's gone out there and he just manhandles guys, forces them into that arm and guillotine and just locks it up. Very impressive. Kelvin Gastelum, though. The man just fought for the title, and now he's on a 3-fight win streak. He was just minutes away from having gold around his waist. A fight of the year, and now he's contemplating: do I have a job for much longer? This or that. I don't want to get in. I don't want to throw this out there.
He's got a job. They love him. He won tough. He's got a job for sure.
Right. But what I should rephrase that. Where do I go from here is more the thought process, because I'll tell you, as a fighter. Some losses you take more than others. But every fight loss, you have a little bit of depression, a little bit of funk, a little bit of fog. You go on a 3-fight skid, it's tough. You start having dreams of that feeling. I've been through it. When I lost 2 fights in a row, I would have dreams of winning, and I'd wake up and I'd go, oh, shit. I didn't. That was a dream. That feeling of winning and just going to the gym and feeling like a winner again. Your family and friends. And he's got to wake up for the next couple of months thinking, damn it, I was so close to being the champion, and now I'm just going further and further downhill. And so I feel for him, especially that way. You go all the way to Abu Dhabi. You go through all this training. You bring your coaches all the way there. And I think he even alluded to some of this. Like, he feels bad that, that he felt like he let people down and people come all the way there. And you get heel hooked within a minute and a half of a fight. It's like not only did he lose, but he didn't get to show us everything that he had, and that's got to be the toughest part for him, taking this loss.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the post he put out after, he said, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed by that, which just sucks, He really seemed to enjoy Fight Week. I have some funny pictures of it, which maybe we could put up here. I don't know, but that he came to the fighter meetings, all in the traditional garb from over here. He even said, he's like, I love Fight Week. He's like, I'm enjoying it. And, he was in a good mood. And, of course, Hoffa's there. And, we're having a good time and stuff. And they went golfing. Like, he, seemed to have a good time here. So, I don't know what happened. I don't know if – I don't want to downplay Jack, though, because he is so good. He made the mistake when we were in Copenhagen. He was in the main event against Jared Cannonier. And he got a little crazy, and he said to us, he said, look, I abandoned my strategy there, and I made it easy for Cannonier to knock me out. I gave it away. Like, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I gave up my strategy, and I made it easy for him, and I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to stick to my strategy. And we know that his whole thing, he loves his ground and pound, and he's really great at that. But like you said, he has a lot of submissions too. And I kind of thought Kelvin was going to score him out of it, and then I was like, oh no, he's not going to get out of that. He's not going to get – and the feeling, again, I was sitting outside for that one, sitting right by the octagon as well. Jack, like, the explosion of, like, after he won, like, his scream, his whole thing, like, I was like, holy shit, whoa. Like, he was ferocious. Like, when I saw his reaction to his win, then I was like, oh, yeah, that was a man that didn't come here to lose. You know what I mean? That's how I felt.
Watching the fight, I felt that, and I'm by no way a leg lock specialist, even though Tim Planet very is high on leg locks. But I did see a moment or two that he had an escape, and he didn't take it, and he let Hermansson roll, and Gastelum didn't roll the proper way or start doing some of the initial defense, because it's like, yes, once you're fully in an arm lock or something, it's hard to get out. But before you get to that full extension, there's little things you have to jump out of right way. and he didn't do that right away. But you know what? How many times do high-level MMA fighters are we drilling leg locks? Leg locks is a big thing in jiu-jitsu right now. Every jiu-jitsu competition is being won from heel hooks right now. But realistically in MMA, you're going to spend your time on conditioning and more high percentage stuff. So it was just kind of a little bit of a hole in his game that any of us can get caught in. It just sucks that it happened to him in this fight, on a third fight losing streak, all the way in Abu Dhabi. And in the first minute of the first round, like, it sucks. But it's a hole that I promise you, probably, like, we could pick it apart. Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? But 90% of the fighters in the UFC probably would fall into the same trap because we don't drill leg locks that often. We really don't. But so that's part of the reason he probably feels so frustrated, because he knows, damn it, there probably was an escape. I missed it, and then I got kind of panicky, and I felt my knee starting to pop, and I tapped right away. So I feel bad for him. I'll say this about Jack Hermansson. You mentioned that, like, ferocity that he did after the win. I feel like Jack Hermansson, he has his most amount of success when he is the guy being ferocious, moving forward, coming to take his prey on. Guys that he's lost to, you just mentioned it. Who did he lose to a while ago?
Jerry Cannonier.
He is a ferocious guy who comes forward, gets the win. His other loss, Jack Hermansson, most recent loss, was to the hands of
trying to remember.
Santos.
Thiago Marreta.
Thiago Santos. Another.
But back in middleweight, that was a while ago then. Right.
Yeah, a little while ago. But those were his last two losses. What I'm getting at is two guys who are very aggressive offensively forward. And so that seems to be a way, if you're fighting Jack Hermansson, you got to go and take the fight to him. You can't let him take the fight to you, because we've seen what happens. He takes the fight to you, and he forces you into submission or ground and pound or takes you out. But guys that come very aggressive, they find an opportunity to catch them. So I would just say for opponents in the future, it's not easy. You heard Mike Perry, your corner saying, go, go, go. And he's like, you go. I don't want to go. But you got to go against Jack Hermansson. Otherwise, he's going to go against you, and he's going to put you to sleep probably.
Yeah, it was the second show that had two leg lock submissions. There was remember that show a while back that had two Suliev stretches with Zabit and Aljo? Well, this one had Ariane Lipski got a knee bar. Over Luana Carolina, which was amazing. And then Jack, with his heel hook. And I was out there for Ariane's fight. I really like her. She's such a cute girl, and she's such a great fighter. And that one, like, I'm sitting right there, and I just knees just freak me out. Like, anytime I'm watching football or anything, anybody gets a knee injury, like I just freak out. And I'm sitting right there, and you just hear her scream. She's like, and you're like, oh shit, and she had needed help getting out of there. And I hope her knee, I actually am not exactly sure what, how bad it is, but it was immediate that she was like, oh no, like, I'm out, I'm done. Like, she cranked that thing.
That was a crazy thing. I'm going to botch both ladies' names. I can't remember right now, but the one girl who lost had her in a calf slicer thing. And this is this is a 10th Planet move. This is what Eddie Bravo had Hoyler Gracie when they did the jiu-jitsu competition. He had him in this like 5 minutes, and we were just thinking, oh my God, there's ligaments popping right now. She had her in a deadly position, but in order to finish it, you got to get your hands around the waist and hip into it. And so she was trying to do that, but I was not thinking about the counter knee bar right there. And so for the girl who won to grab that knee bar, and she extended the hell out of that thing. I was shocked. At first I was just glued to the calf slicer, and then the knee bar came out of nowhere. It was impressive. After that fight, my wife saw that one, and she was like, that girl is pretty. I go, she's very pretty. Really pretty. But she's not the star of the show. I was like, the star of the show so far in Fight Island has been the Amanda girl. And I was telling her, I was like, this girl has a much more like modelly face maybe, but the Amanda girl, she's just like, she's got the person. And it was funny. We were debating this we were like, which girl is the new queen of Fight Island right now? But both women is what I'm getting at. Very impressive. One from the last show, this from this show, but not to move on too fast if you want to stay on this fight, but I've noticed as well, Karyn, I've seen a lot of each of these shows at Fight Island. There's been at least one or two takeaway fighters like that are new to me or semi-new in the UFC, but have made a name for themselves inside the UFC. That new talent coming on the scene and rising fast. We have a guy that fought in middleweight on that card or the last card. that ground and pound finish 2 fights ago, and he's fighting on this card this weekend at
Chimaev.
The Russian guy.
Yeah, Chimaev. He's fighting again this Saturday.
I wish that guy would stay at middleweight. That guy is super impressive. It turns out he's a welterweight, fighting twice in like 14 days. Him, the Amanda girl, lots of people coming to Fight Island and making like a big name for themselves.
Well, the other takeaway person, I think from Saturday night for me is Arman Sarukian, who I saw at the show in St. Petersburg. And even though he lost that show, he came in to fight Islam Makhachev, and everybody was like, yeah, he's brought in to like lose to Makhachev, and gave him like the fight of the night. And we were all like, holy crap, who is this guy, Arman Sarukian? Holy crap. And then he came in and he beat Olivier Aubin-Mercier, who's a great grappler and everything. I said to him, I interviewed him afterwards, and I'm like, you realize now, like, nobody's going to say yes to fighting you. Like, Arman Sarukian is the real deal. Is
this the guy who did he fight on this card?
Okay, now you're, Alan, I don't remember. It was an all-night thing. I can't remember. He fought, I'm blanking on his name.
Did he fight Mark Dikessi?
No, that was Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev fought Jakazi. Fiziev is really good too. Fiziev fought Jakazi, but no, Sarukian was a little earlier, and I can't remember, but he's really, really good. Yeah. And people are going to have to look out for him. But, this weekend, Alan, I know we don't have a ton of time here, but we have another card. This is the last one. I'm here until Sunday. And, of course, the main event is Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till. Co-main event is the trilogy fight with Shogun and Little Nog. And on that one, like, Shogun's up 2-0 in that one. But, one of the fights was in Pride, and, it was incredible. Then the last one was 5 years ago. And it was, it was a close fight, and Shogun won him. And so this time, Little Nog is actually going to retire after this. So this is his goodbye fight. So it's going to be interesting. I'll be backstage reporting and stuff, and that I'll definitely make sure I film that. But that's probably going to get kind of emotional, for him. He's like, I have a lot of other things going on in my life, and we have our gyms and this and that. But, to be able to go out on a legacy fight like that with Shogun is going to be really cool. We have Gustafsson fighting at heavyweight against Werdum. And they actually, if you look this one up, Alan, they trained together at Rain a long time ago. And if you hear each of them, they each say they beat the other guy in their sparring.
Oh, that's interesting, because I feel like in sparring, you kind of know, like, oh, I got that guy. So for them both to say that, they must have had some good back and forth rounds.
Yeah, I guess Werdum opened up a cut because he got the tie clinch and kneed him in the face or something. But Gus, I think, said he was landing on him and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. But in terms of Whittaker Till, until Adesanya did it, I didn't think anybody was really beating Robert. I'm a huge Whittaker fan. And I thought he was going to be champ longer, and Israel took it from him, and I was well impressed. And Darren has been looking really good as a middleweight. We know, he beat Kelvin. I think it's going to be a really, really good fight. And I actually really am not sure who's going to win. I would have always said Whittaker before, but I really don't know now.
I'm in agreement. I'm not sure either. And 6 months, a year ago, it said 100% Whittaker. Right now, Darren's got momentum. Whittaker, coming off the loss or whatever. But I don't know. Till is all over Instagram with his like eyes on everybody.
He's so funny.
And it's like, for some reason, I feel like that gives him momentum into the fight. I don't know how, but it's like something about when people do good on Twitter, all of a sudden their credibility inside the cage kind of carries over. We've seen it happen before, so I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a fun one. This is a fun card. This is a good card.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, I'll be here, and got fighter meetings tomorrow, and so I'll be doing stories and stuff and everything. But I know we do got to get out of here. It's kind of late for me, Alan, so I'm just going to let people know. KB Heat on Instagram, Karyn Bryant everywhere else. Also follow Whittaker, our producer, on all the platforms as well. Where can they find you?
I like the quick wrap up. At Alan Jouban across social media. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Keep following, keep subscribing, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys after this next fight.
See ya.
Take care, guys.